welcome to another Ramblogue. Today we'll be taking a look at Apple TV Plus because I'm actually fairly convinced it's being overlooked by a lot of people. I really do think this service is actually worth a subscription when you look at it on balance. When you compare what you're getting with Apple TV Plus compared to Disney Plus or Netflix, it doesn't have the sheer back catalog that the Netflix or Disney Plus has, but the original content has been of extraordinarily high quality, and it might even, I could argue, be worth, if you don't have this service already, and I'll talk about why there's a chance you might, even if you're not using it. If you don't have this service already, this might actually be worth dipping into for maybe just a month. Check out some of this original content. They do a 7-day free trial, and then I think in the UK it's $4.99 for a month, which means that you could get 5 weeks to blast through, most of the original content, and then you could literally wait. Most of the good original content, there is a lot on there, in a short period of time, and then sort of come back in a year's time and do it again to watch the second seasons of a lot of this stuff. So I'm very quickly going to talk you through some of the stuff that's on this service, because I do think every time a show comes out that's really good on this service, I'm just like, oh, what a pity you're on Apple TV Plus. No one knows you exist, because Apple just aren't marketing this. What they have started doing, and this is the thing I hinted at earlier about why you might have it, is that they started giving it. I saw an article the other day that said an alarming percentage of Apple TV Plus's subscribers are not paying. And I was scratching my head going, how is that? And then I looked and saw that if you buy a new Apple device, if you activate it, you can get a free year of Apple TV Plus. Sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's a year, depends on the device you buy. But that's a lot. And then I was like, that's crazy. And then I went, actually, wait, no, that's what I have. I have an Apple phone. I have an iPhone, and when I upgraded through my contract in November, I can upgrade my phone every couple of years for no extra cost. The extra cost being that I'm still stuck in the contract for a further 2 years, I guess. But I upgraded my phone, and when the new phone came, I had set it all up. It said, "Hey, click here to activate a year free of Apple TV Plus." So I'm one of the people that article's referring to. I didn't realize how widespread that was, but that's kind of insane. But again, even if you don't have that, and you haven't recently acquired a new Apple device, or you just generally don't use Apple devices, $4.99 for a single month of this, it really might be worth it, because there are a few shows that absolutely must be seen and aren't being seen, and that's crazy to me. So the two things that I would immediately point you to in terms of TV shows are Ted Lasso and Little America. Ted Lasso is this incredible comedy about an American football coach who gets brought over into England to coach an English Premier League soccer football team. And it's kind of a fish out of water story, but it's a fish out of water story with one of the most incredibly, interestingly positive characters I've ever seen in a TV show. And he's a character the world needs in 2021, let me tell you. The show surrounds him with cynical characters that are all slowly starting to realize what his positivity is and about. The show is still about the guy, the fish out of water, trying to get the football team. It's got that old sort of sports movie vibe of the underdogs or whatever, coming through and sourcing. But the undertone, the themes are all related to him and the positivity he brings to the world spreading. Excuse me, I've been a little ill this week. Always worrying when you get ill during a lockdown, because you sort of think, how did that happen? I've not left the house. But yeah, I had a little bit of a cold. Ted Lasso is this amazing show with this incredible performance at its heart. Jason Sudeikis just doing an absolutely masterful job. The writing is sharp, it's funny, it's clever, and the jokes are layered. The story is intriguing. You get really invested in it. It's already been renewed for 2 more seasons, the second of which they're filming in England right now, in Richmond, which isn't too far from myself. It's a little bit out of the way, but no, I could get there in less than an hour, 30 minutes, I think. So yeah, it's really cool that they So I'm now just thinking about how long it actually takes to get to Richmond. I must know. I'm the worst person. Why is this? This isn't anything. I'm gonna check though. To Richmond. Let's have a look. Google Maps. What you got for me? Yeah, 45 minutes. There you go. I'm going to bleep out where I said where I'm from, though, aren't I? Anyway, yes, 45 minutes away. Anyway, so yeah, it's really good. The cast are amazing. It's funny. It's heartfelt. It's got a positive message that we all could use right now. Ted Lasso, one of the best shows of last year, and the reason I'm saying one of and not the best show of last year is because it has stiff competition in another Apple TV Plus series called Little America. Now, for those of you who don't know about Little America, it's actually kind of based on a series of articles, pieces that came out. It was like a recurring feature in Epic magazine called Little America, where people wrote pieces about their experience as immigrants in America. Immigrant stories in general. They weren't all, I don't think, exactly that. The series, it's only 8 episodes. They have renewed for a second series, but I'm seeing nothing about whether that's filming or not, so I suspect that's been COVID delayed. It's been renewed. Zero movement that I'm seeing about production restarting, scripts being written, anything like that. So there probably is stuff happening in the background, but like it's currently kind of stalled. But it's an anthology series where every episode tells a story of a different character in a different situation, and they are all powerful, heartbreaking, full of hope as well. Surprisingly, because this series could have been super bleak, and what's great about it is that it really does manage to flick between it. It's not like here's a heartbreaking one, here's a hopeful one. All the stories have a bit of each in equal measure, and it's kind of remarkable that they work, because there's a part of me that thinks like, the easier way to do this is just to do a really bleak one and just focus on making sure I feel this emotion, and then do one that kind of gives me a hope. But the way they flick between the two actually makes them more powerful. The fact that they can turn a really bleak situation into a slightly or completely hopeful one is and the catharsis you get watching it. I mean, you'll feel all the emotions watching this. There's definitely you will shed tears. I'm pretty sure. It's a really, really gut wrenching, but also funny. I wasn't expecting it to be quite as funny as it turned out either. But also important, because it's dealing with this really important subject matter of how Americans view immigrants and their contributions to society. Like it's a really valuable show. Oh, Dan, you've done it again. You've snuck politics in. It's great. It's really good. And everyone should be watching it. And those two shows alone make your $4.99 well worth it. 8 episodes of Little America, 10 episodes of Ted Lasso. But on top of that, if you've gotten your 7-day free trial, or you've paid for the $4.99 for the month, and you're thinking, what else, Dan, is on that's worth my time? If you're looking for a drama, I do genuinely think it's not perfect. I personally thought the ending of the series was a little. I don't think it just got quite the punch it wanted to out of its final episodes. But still well worth your time. Really gripping drama with great cast. The morning show is definitely worth your time. Is it on the level of the other two shows I've just talked about? No, it's not. It's a little more flawed, a little less perfect, but it stands up against a lot of other drama on television, and most other of the networks, like big, not networks, so streaming services, big original content. In fact, it's above a lot of them. The morning show with Steve Carell, Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon. It's really gripping. For those who don't know, it's about a morning show where one of the hosts kind of gets Me Too'd, to borrow a phrase. It's not a phrase I like, but basically there are accusations levied against him. He gets removed from the show, and it's about the fallout from that. Not just for him, but for the people around him. Very gripping. Very gripping. Again, like I said, I personally didn't love the ending, but a lot of people did, so you may love it as well. So yeah, really worth your time. Not so much on the funny or hopeful scale, but definitely a really good little gritty drama to get your teeth sunk into. And Steve Carell playing the host that gets sort of the accusations levied against him, just Steve Carell. That guy is too talented to be allowed. Stop it, Steve Carell. Be bad at something for once. We need to find a hole in that guy's game. But yeah, he kills it, of course. The female leads as well, brilliant. But you kind of expect it from them. It's frustrating. Steve Carell's dramatic career is so frustratingly good. I've seen Jennifer Aniston do more dramatic roles. I've seen Reese Witherspoon do more dramatic roles. I know they're capable. What are you doing, Steve? Just sneaking out of nowhere. And this isn't the series that he's done it, I suppose, really. I mean, he's done a couple of more serious movies as well, Foxcatcher and stuff, where he was like, played it really straight. But every time it catches me off guard, because I'm just so used to goofy Steve Carell from the comedies. Anyway, speaking of comedies, there are 2 comedies that are well worth your time on Apple TV, and I'll try and skip through these a little bit quicker. But Rob McElderry of It's Always Sunny fame and some of the producers and stuff produced this show for Apple TV Plus called Mythic Quest. Mythic Quest is, I do believe, has been renewed for a second season. They're making that at the moment. The first season is currently available and is brilliant. It's about a dev team on a like an MMORPG type game, like a Warcraft type thing, and they're sort of like trying to keep the game relevant in a changing world, and trying to convince streamers that it's worth, that it's worth playing still, because that's what gets them a lot more sales if streamers are playing it. But it looks at the internal workings of the team that work on the game, everything from like QA testing to the programmers themselves, like the people who are doing the art design, the writers, and it's just this really, it starts as a really simple fun workplace comedy and then evolves into a really interesting character thing. And I don't want to spoil where it goes, but it has a lot more depth than the first few episodes indicate. And that's a little bit of a shame, because I feel like people watch the first few episodes, go, okay, it's a workplace comedy. It's good. It's not great. Like, the cast are good and the jokes are fine. Like that, but what's driving me to watch this over any other comedy on TV? I do recommend people stick with Mythic Quest, because I think it's a lot more depth and has a lot more to say about the characters and a lot more interesting things to do further down the line. The other one is Central Park, which is a animated comedy from the guys, or some of the guys who work on Bob's Burgers. It's set in Central Park with a family who live there. The husband is, I think he's the manager, the park manager or something like that. And it's musical. The cast, Josh Gad, Daveed Diggs, Leslie Odom Jr., Kristen Bell, Titus Burgess, Stanley Tucci, Catherine Hahn, Phil Lamar, John H. Benjamin, Tony Shalhoub, Fred Stoller. Like, you could literally, it's bonkers how good this cast is, and it does some really clever stuff. The musical elements done really well, obviously with like Leslie Odom Jr. and Daveed Diggs and Josh Gad. You've got like singers, and even Titus Burgess is also a great singer. There's a lot of really talented musicians involved, or musicians, but like musical performers performing these songs that have been written for them, and it's genuinely brilliant. A lot of fun. Again, doesn't quite meet the standards of the extraordinary lofty standards of your Ted Lassos and your Little America, but again, well worth your time. And again, a little bit like Mythic Quest, gets to some more like character-y stuff further in. They also do some really fun meta stuff that other shows on this service haven't done. And then I won't talk about these as much, but I'll name them. That new Snoopy in Space show is supposed to be really good. I've only seen a few minutes of it. For All Mankind exists. I found it really dry and not particularly great, but if you're into that sort of thing, it's a science fiction alternate reality show written by Ronald D. Moore, who wrote Battlestar Galactica, where basically Russia won the space race instead of America. I say instead of America. Russia got a lot of stuff done first. They just didn't happen to get on the moon first. But if you look at the list of other accomplishments, Russia were ahead in a lot of ways. Anyway, Dickinson is also not for me, but really good. It's a show very much aimed at, I think, teenagers. I thought it was really well done. I just doesn't appeal to me. I've yet to watch it, but my understanding is that M. Night Shyamalan produced show Servant is good. I've heard nothing but good things about Little Voice. That's next on my list to watch. And I think upcoming, as well as sequels or second series to a lot of the stuff I've just talked about, they've got a series coming out later this year by David S. Goyer, based on the... it's okay. Creators of the series, Josh Friedman and David S. Goyer. Josh Friedman behind Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles, which is a show I loved. And it's a science fiction show based on the Isaac Asimov book series called Foundation. Excuse me. Friedman specifically is a really good writer and showrunner. He's responsible for Snowpiercer as well, which is another show that's running at the moment over... God, I don't even know who has Snowpiercer. In the UK, it is on Netflix, but that's not its original network. TNT in the States. So he's a good showrunner. That's looking good. That comes out on Apple TV Plus a little later this year. And I think it has like Lee Pace in it, and Jared Harris. So it's got a really good cast too. And it's just, Apple TV Plus is kind of like proof that if you just throw enough money at good creators and let them do their thing, they will just do their thing. You don't really need to actually. It's not as hard as it sounds. Like, you just hire the people who have already had success and don't meddle. Don't go chasing like specific ratings. Like, just make. But then again, the question remains: like, how is this working for them right now? If they had to resort to giving out loads of free subscriptions to get people on board, and they're not promoting the shows properly, I don't know how this wins. I'm worried every time a good show comes out on this service because I just go like, well, who's watching this? So yeah, I genuinely believe Apple TV Plus is worth your time for all the reasons I just listed. All the shows I just listed are all worth your time. At the very least, get the week free trial and watch some of those. I've not even gone into the movies. Holy hell, they've got some movies. The Banker, really good. What's the one I watched recently? Oh, Wolf Walkers, one of the most beautiful animated movies I've ever seen. Just incredible. Don't even watch the trailer. Just watch that. It's stunning. Everything about that movie works, from the voice cast to the music to the incredible visuals that I can't even describe to you in words. And it's just this really imaginative, fun story. Excellent. I've had recommended to me, and it's also on my list of things to watch, a documentary called Boys State. Excuse me. Boys State looks wonderful. It looks amazing. I saw the trailer and I only watched about half of it, and I was like, I'm in. Click. Clicked off that. Like, I don't want to see the rest. I know. This movie looks great. So yeah, that's on there too. So I cannot tell you how frustrating it is for me to like all these things and know that there's a chance that any minute Apple TV Plus could literally go bust and these shows could go away. Particularly the first couple I mentioned. So yeah, if you have the chance, if you want to give it a try, I recommend it. If you have a free subscription, definitely use it to try them, because you might be missing out on some really solid content. Yeah, so that's all I have to say for this one. Thanks for listening, guys. See you on the next one.